Welcome to the Happy Black Woman Podcast, where we're on a mission to empower women to transform their lives through personal development and entrepreneurship. We bring you all the information, inspiration, and motivation you need to create a life of happiness, success, and freedom. Now, please welcome your host, the happy Black woman herself, Rosetta Thurman.
Welcome to this episode of the Happy Black Woman Podcast, where I am excited to help you create a life of happiness, success, and freedom. I am delighted to bring you our next guest. I know that you probably have heard of her around the interwebs and her wonderful movement, Black Women Millionaires. And I really am just excited to bring her to you because Dr. Opal Reese has done so much in such a short period of time in business, and it's inspiring to see her do what she does. And I'll let her, explain a little bit more about her mission in a moment. But what I'm excited about, bringing her to you to share about how she has created a life doing what she loves on her terms. And that is what we are all about here in our Happy Black Woman community. And so I want to open the virtual doors here of our podcast, of our virtual studio, to Dr. Opal Reese and just introduce and welcome her to the podcast. Welcome, Dr. Venus.
Well, thank you so much, Rosetta. I'm honored and proud and privileged to roll with you, my friend. Yay, team.
Wonderful. Well, there's so much that we can talk about, but I'll try to keep it tight. So, Dr. Venus, tell us, please, what is your mission? I want to give you a chance to share in your own words. I'm always fangirling over here about you and your work, but what would you say your mission is in your own words?
Well, thank you for always loving on me. Fundamentally, my mission is to empower Black women primarily to heal, to emotionally heal as the access to their economic affluence. I believe that Black women have a very specific walk. And because of the history of slavery we've inherited, specifically in North America, but we can look at colonialism, apartheid, we can look at the diaspora, and I believe this sentiment rings true, is that historically Black women have been positioned as the workhorse, scapegoat, cash cow, or the beast of burden. And we have literally funded with our bodies and our wombs other people's dreams. And I'm not okay with that. I think that part of that history impacts our self-image, specifically when it comes to money. So in very street vernacular English, and I traffic in different vernaculars, I'm committed that Black women get paid out the ass for our genius.
It's a powerful way to say it, that's for sure. And I love that we start out with your path, your story, your mission, your success, because it gives our listeners a taste of what it is that you do and why you do it, and your beliefs around this about serving Black women and helping us heal our hurts so we can make the money we deserve is a powerful way to show up in the world. So tell me a little bit about how you do that, about the work that you do to help Black women get to those financial success.
Okay, so are you talking about how I start my business or my methodology?
Your methodology.
Okay, great. Well, let's see. There's a whole methodology behind it, baby girl. But I guess the best way to start is you can't make money if you're mad. Mm-hmm. It's part of the thing as Black women, specifically Black women of power. I have a commitment that we break the $1 million mark, be it our first million or our first stress-free million. I have clients who are millionaires, but they hate the way they made their money. If they sacrifice their bodies, their children, their love life, they sacrifice a lot. They don't want to make it that way. They want to make it on their own terms. And then I have sisters who are really committed, and they're just hungry. And they're they're trying to get away from that job or that man or that, the golden, what I call it the golden handcuffs of corporate America. Mm-hmm. So there's a whole world in which Black women traffic where we are the powerhouses behind somebody else's throne. But we haven't been able to make money for ourselves. We can make other people rich, but when it comes to making money for ourselves, we chicken out. And rightly so, because historically we haven't been taught to monetize. So what I do is pretty simple. I teach Black women who are purpose-driven, high achievers, super successful sisters who know they beast mode, who know that they are amazing, and they doubt themselves. So, and they've walked through life's fire. So it's not for every black woman. It's for the women who know that there's a destiny. You know there's a destiny on you. You know it. You've known this before the word black woman millionaire ever came into existence. You knew it when you felt it. And somehow, some way, you keep getting in your own way. So my job is to teach sisters how to turn their mess, that stuff that we're ashamed of, the stuff that people said wasn't good about us, whether we talk too loud or we have too much attitude or we're too quiet or we're too curvy, whatever they said, right? To turn that mess into your $1 million message and then create a movement that can touch millions and inspire millions like Dr. King, President Obama, and Oprah. Once you do that, you'll find your dream client. You'll be able to position yourself as a high-end leader in your industry, and you'll be able to live what I call a luxury lifestyle, where you get to say how your life goes. You're not punching the clock for anybody anymore. You get to say. You get to choose who you want to work with. You get to choose who you like. You get to hire your people, and that's a very different life. And so the methodology is all about, in my vernacular, and again, my vernacular is very street, and I don't know if you told them that, Rosetta, so maybe I should tell them. I don't know, because they're like, oh, Lord.
That you're bilingual. I know you're bilingual, but my listeners need to know that you are bilingual. Speak street.
Yes, thank you very much. It's important, y'all, because otherwise people hear Dr. Venus Opal Reese, and they put me in a box of a middle-class, bougie chick. I can't sustain it. At some point, I'm bound to curse. I'm surprised I haven't done it already. So I'm this is a good run, because I'm almost good for about 5-10 minutes. After that, all bets are off.
I know.
But and I know you heard this. So
I love the methodology of what you do, because you've got the skills to pay the bills, as they say, but you also make it easy for people to meet you where they are. And I love that. So what actually made you decide to start your business, that you went through this yourself in some way? What made you say, you know what, I'm going to dedicate my life, my work, my time, my energy to this?
That's a great question. There's two different answers. One was white people piss me off, and I get like that from time to time. I get like that from time to time. I know y'all don't, but I do. From time to time, I have white moments. And I was a tenured professor at university, and my faculty actually voted against me for tenure. Now, these were the people who I thought were my friends. We read articles together. We supported each other in conferences. And when they voted against me, I felt betrayed, okay, because physically I had this physiological reaction where my hands started to shake, my stomach turned over, my throat contracted, and it felt like I was back on the street. Now, so for those of you who don't know my story, by the time I was 16, I was living on the streets because my mother had put me out of her house. And things weren't okay, so I never went back. And it was my 9th grade math teacher who intervened and literally saved my life. 14 years later, I graduated from Stanford University with a second master's degree and a PhD. I took all that survival, turned it into the system that I mentioned a little earlier about your mess, your movement, your message, and your movement, and my clients have generated over $7 million using my system and fast-tracked me to the $1 million mark in 3 years. But that all happened because white people showed their ass. And I'm like, you know what, God? I don't want to ever feel this way again. I don't want to ever feel helpless at the mercy of other people's agendas. And so that was the incident that started my walk, to my own freedom, what I call my own emancipation. You know what I'm saying? But the flip side of that is, on a spiritual level, on an energetic level, the truth is they were right. I was hiding in plain sight. I was being a punk ass. I was actually just collecting a paycheck because I was addicted to security. Literally, security was my crack. If I had to have a drug of choice, it was security, because I didn't want to have to be back out on the streets again. So I went for the most secure job. But energetically, that wasn't my calling. My life has always been bigger than the classroom. And you, my friend, the sister who is listening to the sound of my voice, Rosetta is not you, but the other ones, everyone else, you know that there's a calling on your life. You know if you're playing small. You know if you're hiding in plain sight. You know if you're collecting a check because you don't want to risk losing it all. Well, I'm going to tell you, boo, if you're not willing to lose it all, you can't have it all. Until you're willing to stand for yourself with yourself. That was the trip, was that I had to stand for me with me. I had to get into the street. I had to get into a bare-knuckle brawl with myself, for myself, on my behalf. We've been taught to fight for other people, but we have not been taught to fight for ourselves. And so part of my walk is a spirit walk. It has to do with your emotional intimacy, your emotional maturity, your ability to be spiritually grounded in that you are bigger than your bruises. And the past does not get to dictate your seven-figure destiny.
For everyone listening, I mean, we really got some notes for you to be taking here around Dr. Venus's story, her past, and the truths around what we've been taught to do and the bigger vision that's possible for our lives. So we talk a lot around our Happy Black Woman community about creating a new reality. That's really our theme for this year. Create your new reality. And what I love about what you just said was about you created your own emancipation. This was your emancipation. I want to know what does freedom look like to you? So emancipation, just when I heard you say that, it just felt like the shackles were off and you were able to create what you wanted. So what does freedom look like to you?
Well, that's a great question. Freedom to me looks like being able to take my wife to Costa Rica or to Dubai or to Vancouver anytime I want and never have to worry about money. Mm-hmm. You know, you don't know this. Some of you may know, some of you may not. My wife, her name is Lisa, and her father passed not too long ago. And we've been married for a year and a half, and we've been together for, including the year and a half, about 6 years. It was our very first big life moment. And I got clumsy. I didn't know what to do. I had to call my mom to figure out how do I take care of my wife. Anyway, I was able to financially provide support for her, and it didn't cause a breakdown in our family money. You know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't have to rob Peter to pay Paul. And that's a freedom. So to me, money gives you freedom. And money also gives you the ability to serve more people. I actually enjoy paying my bills. I remember having to eat out of trash cans. To actually be able to pay for a meal, to be able to buy shit, oh, hell yeah, that's freedom to me. To be able to employ people, that's freedom. I don't have a real desire to own a lot of stuff. I don't want to have to take care of it. But for the people who need me, or for the beliefs or the causes I believe in, I'm real big on tithing. I'm real big on giving and angel investing, you know, on places where I'm inspired and things that I feel like will make a difference. I like to be the difference made in a life, not just a contribution to a life. So I use my money to help people, and I believe that the more free you are, the more you can help other people get free. And money is a tool to do that.
I love that. Money is a tool. I've been saying that for so long. And seeing that it's such a huge goal for women in our Happy Black Woman community to be able to create that abundance so that they can do what they want to do with their lives. And I see that you're doing that so much in every area of your life, that you're traveling and being able to provide for your family.
And I'm going to tell you, and ladies may want to write this one down, it's easier to make $1 million than it is to make your first $100,000. And it's easier to make $500,000 than it is to make $50,000 a year. And a lot of times as Black women, we have been taught the opposite.
Right.
We've been taught that it's harder to make more money than it is to make less money, when in truth, that's not the case. And I will tell you why. And this, again, make a note on this, my sweet. This is something that you may want to keep in mind as you move through and choose whether or not you want to do the millionaire thing or not. Not everybody does. Not everybody's up to that. But if you're ever interested in being a Black woman millionaire, there's really a path to it. It's not just like you can't go from kindergarten to college. You know what I'm saying? There is a walk to it, right? But the reason why it's harder to make, it's easier to make $100,000 than $100,000 or $500,000 compared to $50,000 is because in order to make $50,000, it's dependent upon working hard.
Yeah.
And you have to understand that it's a working class mentality. That's a slave mentality. We inherited historically that in order to make it, we have to work. And Black people work. Okay? We believe in working, all right? And we have it equal something about our character. When in truth, money doesn't have anything to do with work. My intention with all my clients, whether it's VIP days, my webinars, my teleseminars, my Black Women Millionaires virtual salon, my live events, whatever way we flow. You know what I'm saying? I don't care how we do it. My job is to train you to stop making money off of what you do and start making money off of what you know.
Yeah. And
that is two different kinds of money. And there's a whole world in it around self-esteem money and self-worth money that I'm not going to bore you with right now. But my point is, these are the different kinds of processes and tools that I teach on my campus that actually gets you to the $1 million mark in 1 to 3 years. It doesn't have to take forever. It really doesn't. And I don't care if you think you can do it or not. If you can follow directions, and you got a story, it can be done. Live and prove. So there you go.
Totally. I love that piece around stop making money off what you do, start making money with what you know. Because we have so many PhDs and master's degrees, and in our Happy Black Women community, that's not the only type of education. But I hear so much from them around, I've worked so hard, I've done all this education, I've done all this student debt, and still not monetizing that value that they bring to the world. And so this is for all of you happy Black women out there with the degrees and the certificates that we're not monetizing. This is really what it's about. Start making money with what you know. So thanks for backing me up on that one. I love it. So tell us, I'm interested, and I know my listeners are interested in what does a Black woman millionaire's life look like? So tell us about your typical day, if you can think of one.
Okay. Well, I don't start working. My work day doesn't start till 1 p.m. and it ends at 6 from Monday to Thursday. My Fridays are VIP days when people fly into my home, and I work with them directly using my Black Women Millionaire Blueprint. Okay, and the typical day is in the mornings I spend time with Lisa. I have a prayer room in my house. I have an altar in my house. So I spend a lot of time praying and meditating and doing spiritual stuff. So that's the morning. Go to the gym or walk around the lake. And my days are organized. I either have days that are writing days, call days, sales days, marketing. So I have my stuff in batches. So today is a writing day, right? I'm writing today. I'm not doing sales calls. I'm not doing marketing. I'm writing, right? And some days it depends on what I'm working on. So right now I'm getting ready for, a big event. And so that's where my energy is today. So, and it'll be that way for this week. So depending on what project I am determines the look of my day. But by 6 p.m., no later than 6:30, I get to stop that and have dinner with my wife. And if she lets me, then I'll, I can play around on Facebook and I can, Twitter or whatever. But I have a team for that. Or go to a movie, or I'll read. And I actually genuinely like writing. So writing for me is fun. So sometimes I'll write in the evening. And Lisa and I both like movies. So we'll look at a movie and we'll dissect it and tear it apart. And then by midnight, about 11 o'clock, I'm in bed. So that's kind of the flow of it. I have a project-driven schedule.
This is awesome. I know that there are listeners taking notes right now because we talk a lot about how to manage our time and how to stay productive. So if we can extend that conversation from your typical day to how do you set your goals, on a quarterly basis, annual basis, and stay productive to making all of those things happen and any support that you surrounded yourself with to achieve that?
That's a great question. I'm loving it. I'm going to have to think when I talk to you, Rosetta. So the thing is, I do my stuff based on the annual, right? I come up with a big, bodacious promise for that year, okay? Yes. So this year, 2015, is my Inc. 500 year, okay?
Oh, wow.
And so, that's the year.
For those who don't know, the Inc., tell them about what's the Inc. 500 and why that's
it's a ranking for the fastest growing businesses in North America. All right, you would have known of, it's stuff of people like banks or Fast Company. I mean, it's straight up business. And so, and in order to qualify, you have to generate at least $2 million in 1 year point, right? And then you have to have a certain number of things happen those 2 years prior to that, right, in order to hit your numbers. And so my intention for 2015 is to go from being a black woman millionaire to go to being a black woman multimillionaire. That's my shit, okay?
Yeah.
And that's my thing, right? And so I created that as my bold promise for this year. So from that promise, I work backwards. So I do everything backwards. I don't do it from where I am today. I start at the end. You know, it's very 7 habits of effective people. Start with the end in mind. And then I back it out and I look at, you know, what are the things I would have to do. And I'm going to tell y'all, I'm real big on mentorship, so I hire mentors. I don't try to do anything alone. So I hired, as far as I'm concerned, one of the baddest chicks in the game to mentor me. And one of the things we noticed was that I make my big money from live events and from my small group calls on the phone. So I redesigned my whole year to do 2 live events, to do 1 big telesummit, to do 2 small webinars, and if I need to, throw in 1 small group. My point is, I don't have to hit my revenue goals each quarter to hit my revenue goals for the year. And this is important, ladies, and I want y'all to hear this. And please don't, and this will keep you from being stressed about when you don't hit your targets, okay? This is how I keep myself peaceful. I remember that a target is just a plan. It's not a prediction. Because I don't know if they heard that, but I'm going to say it again. Your goal is a plan. It's not a prediction. There's too many factors that go in and out of any kind of projection, okay? And what I've discovered is that when I put my projections out, when I make my plan, if I'm open to the magic, I still hit my mark by the end of the year, okay? So one of the things that's happening that I haven't really unfurled yet is I'm in the process of securing a New York Times best-selling book agent, okay? There's a whole world that goes with that I didn't know about, and it's great. But there's a whole world. And the intention for that whole world is for my book, to have my book proposal go to auction. And what my team for the book part is standing for is a $500,000 advancement. Okay? Now, I didn't put that in my plan.
But here's the magic. But here it is. I mean,
that's the magic.
How beautiful is that?
Isn't that? But I never planned that. I wasn't even trying to write a damn book. Okay? But that's what I'm trying to express. If you get so tight to how the money comes, you'll miss the magic.
Yeah.
You'll be so trying to do it right versus being open for spirit to do what spirit do. My prayer for the last month and a half has been, God, please, enlarge my territory. Thank you for enlarging my territory. I read this book 13 years ago and reread it called The Prayer of Jabez. It's all about enlarging my territory. Well, that means more influence, which actually means a book, because not everybody can roll up and do a $10,000 VIP day. You know what I'm saying? So I'm saying that if you work backwards and you hold your projection as, you know, as a plan, not a prediction, you leave room for the magic and know that money upflows. It goes up and down. It's supposed to. Don't get attached to how it comes. Just be willing to have it come. Does that make sense?
Oh, that's beautiful. It makes so much sense. And I know that there are so many women listening, hearing you on this, because one of the hardest things that we go through in a lot of our courses is just writing down the income goal, not the ones that you think you can have, but the ones that you want. And I love that you're saying just have the goal, set the goal, and be open to, you know, different blessings coming into your life, different strategies that you haven't even thought of. That's the magic. That's what I love. I love the way you put it, and I know a lot of women are going to resonate with that. And I want you to repeat the name of the book that you mentioned, because
it's a great book.
I was trying to write it down.
No problem. It's called The Prayer of Jabez. It's a Christian book. Okay, his name.
You know the author?
Well, yeah. Let me go to my prayer room. No. I got it in my book. I just came back from traveling. It's Bruce Wilkinson. He's a pastor, Dr. Bruce Wilkinson. It's called The Prayer of Jabez, Jabez. And there's another book that I use because I believe in the power of declaration. My whole life is based on what I say, not how I feel. It's a book by, it's called I Declare, and it's by Joel Osteen. It's another faith-based book. And it's beautiful because they're very liberal in terms of to me, they're very new thought, even though they don't say it the same way. But, you know, do you, whatever way you got to do it. I get it from every way. Buddhist, Dalai Lama, Oprah, whatever you got to do it. But,
exactly.
These books, I tend to feed myself spiritually more so than business in the sense of what I read, because I believe that money is energy. I don't believe that it's the tender that we touch. I believe that money is a function of your ability to receive. And if money is energy, it needs a conduit. And if there's a conduit, just like electricity needs a plug and some wires in order to make the light go off in our house, if you want to make money, the conduit for your money is your heart, not your effort. It's your heart, not your effort. And if your heart is congested with resentment, regret, anger, blame, you literally are blocking your seven-figure destiny. And no one's going to tell you that because we've been taught to work hard. Yeah. Except for me. I'll tell you that.
So everybody can just let out a sigh of relief that Dr. Venus has said, that it doesn't have to be hard. And I've been learning that with Happy Black Woman building this over the last few years, in that there's so much more that opens up when I am traveling, when I'm in Paris in a few weeks. I know that something's going to open up because I'm not worried about having things happen a certain way, but allowing them to happen. So let's all take a deep breath and breathe that in, what Dr. Venus has shared around. It doesn't have to be hard. There's value in working on our hearts. There's a lot of value in that. So speaking of that, I know that you shared so generously about, where you see your business going in the next few years. Have you been able to look forward into the next 5 years? I know that's where we are with Happy Black Woman. We're in an amazing growth period right now, and it's exciting and scary and all that good stuff. You mentioned Inc. 500, working on a book. Is there anything else you see for your business in the next 5 years in terms of your big, hairy goals?
Well, I think that this is what I believe. I believe that every business and every businesswoman has to contend with what she values, because all businesses have three different pieces. But it's impact, influence, and income, okay? But one of them will drive you, okay? So when I first started my business, it was impact first, so it matters to me that my people get results. And the second point was income, because I want to be able to have money to help more people. And the third one was influence, which is more like reach, being able to touch more people, right? My life is changing. So in the next 5 years, I see myself more as a business mogul. I believe there's a path from employee to expert to entrepreneur to CEO to mogul. That is the path. That is a seven-figure path, right? And with a black woman, seven-figure path. And my intent is to have my business be so full-grown, if that's the phrase, that it includes reality TV. It has its own book machine. It's a platform for black women to really soar in their business from a heart-centered place. So I'm looking to become a mogul. My intention is to be a resource to the world. And I just need to have my systems built out such that, like we'll go to Tyler Perry for a film, or we'll go to Oprah for funding. I want to be that chick that when black women say, you know what, I'm out to make my money. I'm out to make my paper. I'm out to make it rain. I'm out to be a black woman millionaire. I need to get down with Dr. V. And so that's my intent, is to have that kind of reach, that my work creates more work for black women to be financially affluent and emotionally free.
That's a powerful statement, and I love hearing it, and I love that you shared it. It is inspiring to hear you state your intention so boldly and clearly. And I encourage everyone listening to really think about your own path over the next 5 years. And I'm going to be asking you this in every podcast, so get used to it. Think about your own path and write down that sentence of what you want and declare it boldly. And 5 years could turn into 3, could turn into 1. We just don't know. But putting it down on paper is the first step. So be inspired by her statement. And so along this path that you're walking, as we get to the end of our time here, I want to know and share some inspiration and advice for our listeners before you go. And so on this path, who inspires you?
who inspires me, it would be Nana, my ninth grade math teacher, the woman who saved my life. Mm-hmm. She's amazing. She comes to all my live events. She's with me. She took me into her home as her own, and she inspires me because of her heart. Mm-hmm. I don't know what she saw that had her take in, this broken and battered street urchin that I was, who just didn't even know how to sleep in a bed. I was so damaged. I don't know what it was. I just think it was God. But she didn't just do that with me. She did it with me, but she also would drive 7 hours from North Carolina to Washington, D.C. to donate her time to serve people for weekend trainings with no pay. And she's done that for the last 30 years. That's who she is. I'm inspired by her ability to give. And I want to be for people. I want to be for Black women who Nana is for me. She saw who I could be. She believed before I could see what was possible. And I lived into her vision of me. I don't have a vision for me. I lived into hers. So I think she's the one who inspires me. I want to do good with my life because I want to demonstrate to her that she made a good choice when she betted on me, And
I know that so many women in our Happy Black Women community have that inspiration, that grandma, that figure who is right there on the cheering section and is watching us as we walk forward into that path, sometimes not even knowing how it's going to happen. So, I just love that your Nana inspires you. What makes you happy?
My wife. My wife, Lisa, she's perfect. She's so not like me. She's quiet. She believes before seeing. She traffics in spirit. But she makes me laugh. She helps me realize that if everything fall apart, I can still come home. If nobody liked me, if nobody looked at listened to my jokes or came to my classes or whatever, I could go home and she would still love me. So my wife makes me happy. It's great to be loved. I think that when you're loved, you can do anything. I'm gonna tell you, I don't think I would have made any of the money I made if Lisa didn't love me. I think that love begats abundance. And I think that love and money traffic in the same energy. And a lot of people don't realize that. They think that money is one thing and love is another. I say they're the same energy. They require that you be willing to receive. And Black women as a group, we give, but receiving, we suck at receiving as a group. Right. So I love, my wife makes me happy. I know I wouldn't have traveled. My baby decided on her birthday a few years ago she wanted to go to the Ritz. I never even thought about crossing into the Ritz. Now I do my events at the Four Seasons. She up-levels me. You know what I'm saying? She can see who I'm becoming long before I can. And she makes me laugh, and she reads all my work, and she cooks, and she laughs. She pets me a lot, and she makes me happy. I love my wife.
That's so sweet. You said when you're loved, you can do anything. I like that so much. I want to take it on as one of my personal mantras for the year. Would that be okay?
Yes, it is. Aw, yay!
Yeah. So anybody else looking for a personal mantra, as part of our 31-day reset work, we have everyone choose a personal mantra and try it on. I mean, it's a great reminder. One of the words for the year that I'm focusing on is love. They're fun, love, and adventure. And love is one of the ones that got to keep your eye on it, especially when you are in that energy of bringing in love and money, because they're both good. They're both great. So the last question I want to ask you is just what's the number one tip? You've had such incredible success in such a short period of time, and following the lived experience that you've had, what would be the number one tip you would give to the women in our Happy Black Woman community who want to start a business doing what they love and creating the lifestyle that they desire?
Well, it's a twofold answer. The first part of that answer is to heal your heart. For some reason, it's been heavy on my heart this week to talk about you can't make money if you're pissed. You can't make money if you're mad. You can't make money if you're harboring resentment. And to try to make money on top of that will not work. So there's a healing process that has to happen energetically in order to make money. There's no two ways about it. I didn't make my money. I made my money off of my story, not off of my effort. So that's the first piece. But to make it more practical is if you look at when you miss the mark, how do you talk to yourself? Is it critical or is it kind? If it's critical, take out a piece of paper, pick somebody that you admire, that you really think the world of. It could be someone you know, or it could be someone who's famous. It could be someone in history. It doesn't matter. Just pick someone that you just think the world of. And then you want to write down, how do you see that person? And see if you can get it in like little bullet points. Do you see them as brave, as strong, as charismatic? Write down how you see them. And then write down how you talk to them. Is it kind? Is it patient? Is it generous? And then look at how do you relate to them. Is it with admiration? Is it with authority? Just write it down. And once you've completely written it down, and you can feel that energy on you, because when you write it, you'll feel yourself getting present to it. I'm going to invite you to take those terms and bathe in them on yourself. Pour them into you. Pour them into you. Because if you can see it in somebody else, it's only because it's already a part of you. The way you talk to you will never out-earn your self-image. And until you take on really tending to how you see you, your behaviors will be a match for your survival. And that's a whole nother level, but I think they get the point across.
Totally. So those of you coming to the end of the podcast, you're going to want to rewind and make sure you do the exercise Dr. Venus just shared with us, because I can already tell it's going to be powerful for me to do it myself. So selfishly, I get to learn from you on the podcast and continue to deepen our relationship too. So, Dr. Venus, I want everyone to stay in touch with you and stay close to you as you walk your path and as they grow in their abundance. So tell us, how can they stay in touch with you? How can they find you and get more from you?
Okay, great. Well, I believe in dating before I get married. And so what I would like to do, Rosetta, if it's okay, is I would love to give your ladies a gift. Does that work?
Oh, yes. We love gifts.
Okay. Well, yay, team. Okay, great. So please go to www.defyimpossible.com/gift. And there I'm gifting you a training. It's called Get Money. Okay, that's the name of it. Straight up street, Get Money training. And it's all about bringing in new money with the knowledge you already have. So, and it's a $1,500 value. It's a 3-hour audio program and a 21-page workbook. It's one of my best sellers. I have this whole world around bringing in new money. You have to bring in new money before you leave your job. So if you know that you are interested in the whole 7-figure thing, let's get you started. Let's get you a proven program that's going to have you start to make money from what you know versus what you do. Again, it's www.defyimpossible.com/gift.
Oh, amazing. This is incredible. Thank you. I'm thinking on behalf of all the women who are going to be downloading this now and in the future. This podcast will be on iTunes indefinitely, so we're going to serve a lot of women with this. So thank you, and I just really want to encourage everybody to take advantage of the information and resources that Dr. Venus has. This is just a snippet of the wisdom that this woman shares on a daily, weekly basis through the work that she does. So I so appreciate you. Thank you for sharing with us. Thank you for being who you are for Black women.
Rosetta, thank you for allowing me on your platform. Thank you for our deepening relationship. And thank you there's 2 things I want to thank you for. Thank you for living your life out loud. I love who you be in the world. I love that you created this community for happy Black women. It's something I admire about you and always will. And I also want to thank you for supporting my dream. It means the world to me that Black women win. It is my calling. It is my destiny. But I can't do it alone. So I appreciate your partnership. I appreciate your sisterhood, and I appreciate you trusting me with your babies. I know what that feels like, and I don't take it for granted. So thank you so much.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Oh, well, that was a powerful episode, And I know that you all agree. And you know what we do? We take a witnessing breath. So everybody feel free to take a witnessing breath for all of the knowledge that we received today from Dr. Venus. And I will see you next time on our next episode of the Happy Black Woman Podcast, where we help you create a life of happiness, success, and freedom. Talk to you next time. Bye-bye.
Thank you for joining us on the Happy Black Woman Podcast. If you want all the show notes from today's episode, go to happyblackwomanpodcast.com. Plus, we'll send you a copy of Rosetta's free life mapping workbook. We look forward to empowering you next time, and until then, do something this week that makes you happy.